Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, episode 9. So last time we got some pretty emotional stuff, actually. And who knows what we're getting this time. I am excited to see what more kind of shenanigans we get up to. And I'm still wondering if by the end of this season we do get something a little more story focused, like season 1 did. Because season 1 had that entire thing with Toru kind of doubting her relationship with Kobayashi and then having to go home and then having the entire thing with her father. So I'm wondering what season 2 is going to do in regards to something like that. I hope it does something like it, though. I hope we get another like big way to end off the season. And throughout the season, we've had big story beats. We had the big story beats at the beginning with Ilulu. Again, last episode, we had some big emotional story beats with both Toru and Ilulu. I don't know why my mind blanked for a second there. It's like it just skipped like a record or something. But yeah, it's really interesting. And I still don't think that there's been a full episode count like confirmed for this series. At least I haven't heard anything about it. Let me check here on MAL. Oh no, there has. Okay, never mind. This is confirmed for 12 episodes. So after this week, there's only 3 more episodes left. Which makes sense. I mean, it makes sense that it would also, just like season 1, be about that length. And that's fine. I don't think this series needs to be longer than that per season. But at the same time, it's going to be sad to see it go. And I really do hope that they end this off with a bang. That they close out the season really well. Especially, again, with it being their first series back after the arson and everything. Like, so far, this season's been phenomenal. And KyoAni has proven that they still have it and that they're still going to be one of the big premier anime companies out there. That's not changing. And I respect the hell out of them for that. And now that we are coming up to the end of this season, the end of their first series since returning, I want them to stick the landing, you know? I want them so bad to stick the landing because I want this to be a success story for them. After everything that happened, I want them to have this so that they can fully just continue to hold that place in the hearts and minds of all these viewers, all these fans. Because KyoAni, like you think about it, is one of the biggest name anime companies and one of the most praised. People love KyoAni, and so you just want them to succeed here. And I really, really hope they do. Garbage truck out there notwithstanding. I don't know if you can hear that, but but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what more we have in store and to see how we do end off this season. I would assume it'd probably have to be something involving Ilulu, but maybe not. We'll have to see. Either way, I'm very excited, so we're just going to get into this, hope for the best, and see what more we have in store with our found family. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So there's two kind of storylines, I feel, in this season. There's a few different things going on, and there's a few different things that they kind of show and focus onto a bit, but there's two specific storylines that are kind of integral to this season, that are like really focused on. And the first one is obviously Lulu, her joining this found family and just kind of becoming, in a way, more aligned with humans. The second is Toru and Elma. We have had a couple times throughout the season their interactions and getting to see the kind of relationship that they've had throughout the ages, from all the way back in their world to where they are now. And even in the past, Kobayashi has said that they came across like friends, that she wished she had a friendship like what she had heard Toru and Elma had back in their world. But they never admitted they were friends. They always saw themselves as rivals, as enemies, because, honestly, because of their factions. Toru being a Chaos Dragon and Elma being a Harmony Dragon. Because of their factions, they always felt like they had to see each other as enemies. So, this climax to this arc, this story arc, in this episode, felt extremely well built up. And extremely satisfying in how it was handled. But I'll get to that in a moment. This episode was chock full of Elma. It was extremely focused on her. First, we see she's trying to get better working conditions for the company she and Kobayashi and Takia work at. And as I stated during the reaction, that's a good thing. That's actually very admirable of her. You should always strive for better working conditions no matter what job you have. So even if the reasoning for her is just to get these just to be able to get out on time to get these special limited treats that the shop she goes to has, even if that's the reason, it's like she still is fighting for workers' rights, which is always something worthy of praise. And through this, we actually get to meet Shota's father for the first time. Like, we briefly saw him earlier in the season when Shota gave him that charm he made for Father's Day. But now we actually get to see him in full. And not quite what I expected. Like I expected the very, like, well-kept hairstyle and everything. I expected him to be very serious and whatnot. I did not expect the baby face. Like, he has a baby face for sure. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it was so unexpected. But the way they handled it, the way they showed it in this episode was, for some reason, menacing. Like, they portrayed him, and specifically his look, as intimidating, and it's like, oh, okay. He keeps denying these different requests that Elma keeps putting through, and because we know he's a mage and everything, we know he knows about the dragons and everything already, but it's still fun hearing him, like, refer to Elma by, like, her dragon title, like, so just casually and everything, and referring to Lukua as a goddess and everything, just so casually. It's fun. But yeah, We see a little bit of Ilulu this episode as well, but it's just this brief little thing with Take, with her catching him staring at her cleavage. Um, and it very much reminded me. It gave me the vibes of, and I know this technically came later in the episode, but I want to just cover this now. It gave me vibes of Uzaki-chan. Just the way, that smirk she gave him when she caught him like that. It very much gave me Uzaki-chan vibes, which is a good thing, by the way, because I really do like Uzaki-chan. So, but yeah, that was just a brief little moment. But we also have Elma being visited by um, Kana, Saikawa, and Shota, who all want to go on a picnic. Originally, it was just Kana and Saikawa, but they met Shota along the way. Because Toru and Kobayashi can't go and they need an adult because of the length of their trip, they go to Elma, with Toru actually recommending it. Um, and in the letter that Toru sends with them, she even says to Elma, it's like, I have some faith in you, so don't mess this up. And it's really interesting because you see Elma's reactions like, she has faith in me? And she's like just genuinely surprised and almost touched by it. But they go on the camping trip. They go out, do some fishing. They make some curry and everything, and just have a good time. It's very simple. But we see at one point Elma's having fun splashing in the water, which is adorable, by the way. And the kids, without telling her, which is partially their fault, go off to just follow the ley lines and whatnot. She ends up realizing they're gone and freaks out trying to find them. She's panicking and everything. She's just losing her mind. They get back to the campsite, realize she's not there, and kind of talk through, like, oh, she probably went to go find us. And then she turns into a dragon in the middle of the forest because she's just so upset by everything. Um, Saikawa's put to sleep by Shota, thankfully. Because Saikawa's always seen this dragon, always seen Elma in her dragon form. That's like a new recurring joke for this season. I wonder if they'll do it again. um, but yeah, Saikawa's put to sleep, and they get Elma's attention. She's brought back. Everything kind of works out. Um, but let's talk about the reason that this episode is so good. Elma convinces Fafnir to come with her and Toru for a sparring match, some exercise. And Kobayashi ends up coming along too when Toru is brought in for it. Jeez, I just messed up my hair. And so they start to fight, and we see that Fafnir believes it to be one blade, but Kobayashi can clearly see that the reasoning for this fight and everything is not exactly what Fafnir is thinking. And with all the gorgeous animation and everything aside, we see as the fight continues that Elma just kind of basically lets it out. She reveals that she missed Toru when she just disappeared, when she left. When Toru left and everything just suddenly, and she thought she was dead, she was scared for her. She was afraid because they were friends. And Elma has finally admitted it here, that they were friends, and she was afraid when she just disappeared. She was saddened. And then when she heard that she went to the human world and all of that, it's like it bothered her because of how Toru would treat her for interacting with humans. And we see that Elma's trying to convince herself that the situation is different. But that's only out of her fear, only out of her sorrow. And then she finally says it. She says she wants to be friends again, just like they used to be. And it actually makes Toru break as well. and apologize. Toru, who's honestly very prideful, who has stood strong with this rivalry, apologizes to Elma. And their fight continues, but the entire meaning behind it changes. They're no longer fighting as rivals, as enemies, but as friends. You can see their smiles when they're fighting. They're very clearly having more fun with it than they were before. They're enjoying it more because now they're not holding back on their feelings. And it's like, again, this was so well built up. This was well built up throughout this season. Even in this episode, with the entire thing about Elma being kind of surprised by Toru saying she had trust in her with the note. They made sure, like the original mangaka and everything, and the team at KyoAni who put this together made sure to show us that this was not just something out of the blue, that this had been building up, and they gave us that backstory. They gave us that information that made this all matter. And this has been a long time coming, since season 1 when they first interacted and everything. This feels, like I said, satisfying. I think that's the best way to put it. It's satisfying. Like, yeah, you could say it's emotional, it's powerful, it's beautiful and everything. But really, the best word is satisfying, because it's like, because of everything that built up to this, because of everything that they worked toward this with, it truly feels like a complete character arc for these two. And you see at the end, it almost looks like they're rivals again, but then it's revealed that they're just having a contest. They're seeing who can hold out from laughing the longest while their feet are being tickled. It's genuinely cute. Like, there's nothing saying that they still can't be competitive with each other. In fact, it's pretty much guaranteed that that's still going to happen. um, but they're friends now, and I think that what epitomizes this the most is the first episode. In the first episode, when Ilulu was attacking Toru, Elma refused to get involved because she's a Harmony Dragon. She wouldn't get involved in the fights and help out Toru until she was bribed by Kobayashi. What if the ending of this series has some big climax with that kind of thing going on, but this time Elma voluntarily, without being bribed, rushes to Toru's aid? That would be the perfect culmination of this character arc. And honestly, would be one of the multiple factors that would make this season better than the first. And I truly believe that it's on its way to being so. I truly believe that it's on the verge of surpassing the first season for me. And doing something like that would definitely push it towards the edge. In fact, probably just straight up push it over the edge. That would be such a phenomenal culmination of this character arc that this entire season has partially focused on. So, if we get that by the end of the season, I will probably cry. More so than just the tearing up I'm doing now. Just thinking about it. Especially if it ends up being another Harmony faction dragon. Because we saw at the beginning of the series, there was another Harmony faction dragon who was after Ilulu. So what if he returns, or even other Harmony faction dragons come? And if Elma ends up turning against them to side with Toru, that would be so impactful. That would be amazing. And honestly, I'm really hoping that kind of thing happens. Something like that. But yeah, this was Elma's never been my favorite character in this series. I fully admit. I've always liked obviously Toru and Kobayashi more. I've always liked Luqua more. Uh, even to a point, Takia. Elma's just kind of been in the middle for me. She's not my least favorite, but she's not my favorite either. Um, but this season has really done wonders for her character and is definitely bumping her up for me. I don't know where I would place her at the moment. I would really have to think about it in correlation with all the other characters. But this season is really doing wonders for her character. And I won't argue. I like her a lot more than I used to. Because they're just developing her in the best ways. So I really love this episode, if it's not clear. I really think that this episode is just another example of this season shining and being something truly special. We got so much emotion last time, and it's not holding back. It's still going. We've only got 3 more episodes to go at this point. And there's so much that can be done with it, with everything we've got. If I had to theorize on it, on how this could end, I would assume that there's going to be someone coming for Ilulu this time instead of Toru. And that's when Toru, the likes of Toru, Kobayashi, Luqua, Fafnir maybe, Kana, and Elma, of course, are going to have to stand up for her. That would be my that would be my best guess as to what might happen in this finale. But we'll have to see. I'm very excited because we've just gotten so spoiled with this season. Even though it came later than intended because of the KyoAni fire, which is completely understandable and you can't blame them at all. And even though a lot of issues arose because of that, with the director of season 1 passing away and everything, KyoAni proved that they've still got it. And that even after that horrible, just absolutely atrocious event, that they could come back and be just as good as ever. And it's something I just really respect. That they put everything that they had to make this series good as it is for us fans after such a terrible incident. That they still wanted to entertain us, that they still wanted to give us something special, especially for it being their first series back. And I think they succeeded. I think that they have truly given us something special. And like I said, it's well on its way to overcoming and being better than season 1. And that's wild to think about because of how good season 1 is. I almost feel proud of them, you know? Making this successful and this awesome of a comeback. I genuinely feel happy that they were able to do this. not just for my sake from an entertainment view, but for their sakes, to keep this company that has meant so much to so many people, this company that for a lot of people has become synonymous with anime, to keep it going and going strong. So sorry if I'm getting a bit emotional. Sorry if I'm getting very like heavy with what I'm talking about, but like I said, I'm just really happy that KyoAni was able to come back like this. It's almost inspiring. And I really can't wait to see how they close this season out. So, as always, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S, and no spoilers for the future. I definitely do not want to be spoiled on how this season ends. But either way, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.